Hi guys, and welcome to my stream. I'm working on the React app, which is a text encryption app like many you see online. For example, if you search AES encryption online, you will see many apps like what I'm doing now. Okay, so let me just show you current progress. Okay, this is the last time the app was built. So it looked like this. We have three panels: input panel, transforms panel, and output panel. In the input panel you can input any text. Here you want to select what to do with this. Currently I only suppose you would do AES encryption. Only this option is possible now. And what am I going to do today? Let's check the Trello board. I have added all the tasks to the Trello board. Sorry, I shouldn't have. Yeah. So for today, I have these tasks, which are related to basically writing tests for the transform panels. Before that, I want to show you that I did something off screen actually. I made some changes to the design. Here is the latest development version. Off screen, basically I just changed this close button to something better looking. You see, that's what we had before, and that's what we're having now. This is a better button. So I just changed it. Let's check with Cypress if all tests still pass. So I'm starting Cypress. Cypress is a testing framework which I'm using to run tests basically. So while it's starting, I think I can check some of the tickets. Here. So let's check ticket 10. When any transforms panel element is created, the users should see a transformation selection drop down on top, showing which transformation this element represents. Basically this one, you can say it's almost done. There is no test for this, but the thing is working. I can add this test here quickly. So these are our Cypress tests. They are inside the Cypress integration text transformer tests folder. So here, now it's going to run these tests. Yeah, they all pretty much work. Number 10, I haven't written this one yet. but what we will want is to get a transform element and then make sure this transform element has a drop down, transform selection drop down. I think I can have a name for this. TRS transform. There is already one. Yeah, already one in there. So it should be visible, basically. Should be visible. We're just making sure that this drop down, this transform selection drop down is present. That's what this test is about. So we can move this point 10 to done and checkpoint 11. Ticket 11, when the user clicks the transformation selection drop down, they should see the following option: yes and none. Here I would just check which options are present in this drop down which we just checked. So there should be two options according to the test: yes and none, according to the spec. Here, these two options, none and yes, they are here, you can see. So we can just write a test for these transform selection drop down, basically. Options with value none and yes. That's what we will want to check. So let me copy this point 11 and add it here. Transforms element, transfer selection drop down. And after this transform selection drop down, this is this element. You see, this is the native select. So its child will be option. Option 1, option 2. So we can say option with value none. We want option with value none. Should just exist. And we would want another option with value AES. Actually, what I wanted to change is that we would have AES encrypt and AES decrypt. So this option should be AES encrypt, and we should have another option encrypt, and we should have another option AES decrypt, actually, because this will be different transforms, right? Because you might paste encrypted text and you might want to encrypt it, right? And vice versa. Oh, what am I saying? You might want to paste normal text and want it to be encrypted, or you might want to paste encrypted text and want it to be decrypted, right? So this will be two different transforms. So I will have AES encrypt, AES decrypt. So here I think we should change. I should change this AES encrypt, AES decrypt, and none. Okay. So that's what I will add here AES encrypt EES decrypt, and none. This will do nothing, but it will be the option which is selected by default. Okay, number 11 also works. You see, now we have none AES encrypt, AES decrypt. So this point 11 can be moved to done also. Next, point 12. When an empty element is created, it should have none value in the transformation selection dropdown. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's possible to do it with CSS. Let me check this. I'm not sure if it's possible to tell which option is selected purely via CSS. Let me also make text a little bigger so it's more mobile friendly. None. I think it's not possible to tell which option is selected because yeah, it's not possible to check which option is selected by default. At least not with CSS. You could just set an option depending, because we have a React element right here. Transform selection drop down. This value should be coming from React. No, it's not coming from React really. So we don't know which of them is currently selected, but it's the first one. Anyway, I think this is how it works. I think this we can at least defer for now. We can check this one later. Let's check point 13. Given that the transformation selection dropdown is open and the current element is not the AES transform element, when the user clicks the AES option in the dropdown, all old elements, fields, not parentheses. Basically what it says is that when we select here AES elements, for example AES encrypt, then all the input panels here should change to reflect that, right? But now we have two elements, AES encrypt and AES decrypt. So this one we make AES encrypt. We should have another ticket for AES decrypt. Okay. Another ticket I would create for AES decrypt. I would number it 13.1. 13.1. Yeah, this will be for AES decrypt. All the elements fields not present in the AES encrypt element should disappear, and the element should become the AES element. Okay, first we need to think which elements should be there, because this is not defined in the spec. So we can think that we need, for AES encryption, we need first of all key, and then we will need IV probably. Then we will need to know which algorithm we're using, if it's a block algorithm, if it's CBC or ECB basically. OpenSSL supports CBC and ECB, and we will be using NodeScript, which is using OpenSSL behind this scene. So let's add this anyway to Cypress. So here we have our transform element. Transform element will be element common. Yeah, I made some styling changes. So that's how I'm doing this icon button, this close button now. I'm using icon button plus close icon with font size small. That's how it looks now. So now here we will want to add other options, but these options will be different depending on which transform this is. So for AES encrypt there will be one options, for AES decrypt there will be other options. So I would create some subcomponents here. For every option we might need, I would create a subcomponent. I'm not sure if it's the best approach or not, but let's do it this way. I will create subcomponents inside the transform element. AES encryption options TSX. Let's create our snippets. RFC, React Functional Component, and we will call it AES encryption options component. Here we'll have our state. Where is this state? This is weird that it's not here. I think this fab we can remove. I don't know why it can't find state. Anyway, we can import it manually. That's what they say. State refers to a type, right? State. That's what. Now this is correct. Map dispatch to props. I don't know what we might need here, but let's start adding our AS encryption options. So we will need an input. So let's check Material UI, how they want us to create inputs. Material UI. Inputs. So this text field, the text field wrapper component is a complete form control, including a label, an input, and a help text. For key, we might need something like this, but somehow I would like a little different design. Yeah, maybe like this. Yeah, this design would be fine, I think. So let's check how they're doing this. It's actually much, no. So first thing we will want is to import text field from Material UI core. Material UI core text field. So first text field will be the key. So label will set to key. ID, okay, outline TRS. Yes, options key. Classes, values name, handle change. Okay, we'll remove handle change for now. Class name. This is text field, which should they define here. Sure. So basically, what they define here is just margin left and margin right. That's it. I don't think we really need this. So for now, I will remove these classes, and value we can set later. I think we can have a local state for this. Okay, just let's start with this and try to add it to transform element component. Depending on component type, it should return different thing, right? So let us check. const no let options equals basically nothing, no, then if, or we can do a switch maybe, props transform data type case type transform type. Yeah, the good thing this transform type is unclear which none or AES. Okay, AES encrypt, also AES decrypt. Case, yeah, they're all here. EES encrypt options equals this AES encryption component, and then break. And here we add these options. Okay, so what we're doing here, we first define these options variable to be null. Then we're checking transform data, which gets passed. You remember from where it gets passed? It is passed from transforms panel. Here it is passed from transforms panel. Here we pass transform data, and originally we get this transform data from a redux state. So for every transform data we create a separate transform element component. So here we got this transform data, and then if transform type is AES encrypt, then we set options to the thing, and then we will see here this component, AES encryption component. Otherwise we won't see here anything. Okay, good. But still this won't change anything when we change the drop down. Why is that? This is because we still need to change transform data type in Redux, and we don't do that when drop down value changes. Currently this drop down value change actually does nothing. So let us check our transform element component and transform selection drop down component. So this transform selection drop down component should actually take some props. Yeah, it's not even taking any props, so we should define some interface for these props. Transform selection drop down props. I would take just the single on change function. Which would just like I can call it function. I don't know what it would be taken currently. So once something changes here, I think in native select we should be having this on change or something like this. I need to check these native selects on change. HTML select element. So it's probably HTML select element. I'm checking what is the type of this onChange argument. It's React change event of HTML select element. Okay, I think we can do it. We could pass the value of this value to the onChange function. Event, I think target value to this onChange function. Which we will be able to get here. So I need to provide an onChange function also here. So once we change this drop down, okay, now just stop building because of wrong React code. But I will show you in the old version. Once this drop down changes, we will see this method being called. So this method will be called with the new value. So this onChange. And what are we going to do with this value actually? We want to change it in the Redux state. So we will want another method which will send a Redux message. We can call it change transform type. New type, yeah, transform ID we will need also. Transform ID. And new type, a string. And we'll need an action for that, action type for that, change transform type. Actions change transform type. So now I'm specifying data for this action, which will be received in the reducer. New type. So same data will be sent to the reducer, which we provide to this method. Nothing new here. We only need to call this method now. We will call it here. Need to define this in the props also. Since I'm using TypeScript, I also need to define this function and its type in the interface because I'm using typed props, you see. That's why I need to specify it twice. Okay, now I just need to call this function. Transform ID we can get from our props, and new value we will get from here. Yeah, so this one is a function which will take a single argument, which is type, I think. New type we can call it, or I don't know, value, string. And it will return void. So this is how we define function types in TypeScript. First we define argument, then we define, after the colon we define argument type, and this syntax is how we define return value. It returns nothing, so we are showing that it returns void. Void means nothing, it doesn't return anything. Here now it's not happy, because I think event target value might be having some other type. What type, I wonder? Let me check. Expected 0 arguments but got 1. No, why did you expect 0 arguments? No, here everything should be correct. Event target value, which is a string, right? Let's see if it's built now. Yeah, it builds. This is just a wrong wording. Yes, encrypt, yes, decrypt is happening. One thing which is still missing from this is actually a proper logger. This is what I haven't added still. Yeah, somehow I forgot about this. So meanwhile, I could use console log in the reducer. I will add proper logger tomorrow, I think. Actions index.ts, state.ts, transforms.ts, trs action. Yeah, I need index.ts. So here I would console log received action. Okay, console log action received. This is not necessary. But that's good to see which action have been received. And another option is to use developer tools. Just use Redux developer tools and it will do everything for you. What's it saying? Okay, each child in the list should have unique key property. Yeah, that's in transform panel. Basically, what's it saying is that if we have many children created via this props state transforms map or any other way like this, who are basically like each other, totally like each other, then we need a key property so that there is some attribute which is different in every child. I think we can use ID here. did it rebuild? I think it's not clearing. I'm using preserve log, that's why. Yeah, no error like this. It was fixed. All right. Now, what was I doing? I already forgot. I was adding this change. Yeah, and I wanted to check if this action is sent when I change. Yeah, you see, action is received with the new type AS encrypt, AS decrypt. Okay. So now we need to handle this in the transform. Handle this action. Remember that we handle all actions inside the reducer. So there will be many components in your app, and every component will send actions, and all these actions will be handled in the reducer, which will change state. Once state is changed, your components will also change. So your view will change. So input changes state, state changes view. So our new action is change transform type, right? So first we need to find our transform. So let's find our transform which we need to change. We have an array, so we can find it with find this array method, which you can use to find elements inside of the array. Each element in the array, on each element in the array, this provided function will be run. You provide a closure to find, which will be run on every element of the transforms array. Transforms data. Transform data. Yeah, transform data. And if this closure returns true, then it immediately returns element for which it returned true. Otherwise, it proceeds to the next element. So here we want an element with ID, which is equal to action data transform ID, which we sent here, right? We just sent it. So where did we send it? I'm getting a little lost in all this stuff. We sent it inside the yes, transform element component, which I just closed. Here we are sending change transform type. We sending transform ID and new type. So this will find. This will first find the transform with the ID sent, right? Once the ID, we find the transform, we need to change its type. Transform type. We change it to this action data new type. Action.data.new type. I'm not sure what is this. Okay, it can also return undefined. So only if this is defined, we should do this stuff, because if it returns undefined, then of course it can change data in the transform, but in this case we have a serious issue. tried to change on type of an unexistent transform, and we can provide here action. I will change it to a proper logger. Actually, this is a very bad habit of using console log, because if you use it everywhere, then you will soon spam everything. So it's a good idea to use a logger where you can turn logs on and off, and not just turn all logs on or all logs off. It's good if you could turn on some log types and turn off other log types. So I will later add a logger and will show you how to do this properly. For now, this should change transform type correctly. Inside the state. So let us check. Yeah, actually we will not see any tangible result for this. I think not yet. No, now you see we see this key. However, formatting is bad, but we already see this key in AES Encrypt. Let me check what is the problem there. Transform element component. Yeah, I should have added it there inside the div. Here we need these options. So here we will be able to enter key, right, for the AES Encrypt. For none there will be no key, you see. So key, then IV, I think, and maybe something else, but these things take too much space because we already don't have much space. I don't know if it goes like this, we'll have to change the design because there isn't just not enough space. Where is this? Margin top, margin bottom. Okay, margin is fine, but what about these paddings? This is probably too small font for you. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to check if I could make these paddings smaller. This margin bottom, where are the paddings? This padding 0 it shows. Maybe this padding. Okay, let me first complete functional things, then get to that style. Let's return to our test. Our test, Cypress Test, which is failing. So what we will want to first select this drop down, and then we will want to select option AES Encrypt, and then we will want to make sure that after selecting AES Encrypt we see their key input TRS transforms element, TRS key input ES AS encrypt key input should be visible. Okay. And also we will want IV input. Also bits input. It might be AS 128, AS 256, AS 192. So there are several versions of the AS algorithm, right? AS encrypt bits input and then AS encrypt. Let's say algorithm, meaning CBC or ECB. There are block algorithm and non-block algorithm for AES. Okay, so now let's run this and see how this is failing. Okay, it's already failed. I would even want to run just this test to see how it's running. So it clicked this. No, but it did not even select AES encrypt. Let me check how you select AES encrypt. Maybe I could. I thought select is doing this. Select an option with specific text within a select. Let me check if this is a... Maybe I can do it like this. Select. I can... Yeah, this one worked. Okay. Yeah, that definitely won't be enough space here for so many options. But this one is smaller than actual window where a user will be using it. But I still need to think something about the design. There is definitely not enough space for everything. Maybe we could take some space from the input panel or the output panel or both. Okay, let's first complete functional things. AS encryption options. So this is the key. I would give it class name. This class name TRS AS encrypt key input. And then we'll have IV input, which basically be the same thing, but only label will be IV, which is short for initialization vector. When encrypting, AES needs the key which stays the same and IV, which is random every time. AES encrypt IV input. Options IV. Okay, I think this margin maybe we can change. Is there padding, I wonder? Padding options. No. What options? What options are here? Dense none. What if I said none? What will happen? don't see any difference. So we have already key and IV, but we don't have still two elements. First of all, let me set to run on this test. You can use it only to run only a single test. So it will run only these tests. We have these two, but we still don't have bits input and algorithm input. I don't know. IV input bits. Bits. I just change everything to bits here. And algorithm. Or maybe I call it version or variation. I think maybe it will be better like this, because algorithm is still AES. Variation. Yeah, I think it's there, but Cypress thinks it's not visible because it's behind all this stuff. Yeah, how can I make it smaller? Because it's definitely too big. If I set it to margin none, I think it's not affecting anything. Yeah, margin is not an issue. I think margin might just as well be normal. So let me look again at these text field things. Why is it not loading? Okay, it loaded. Let me change it to Encrypt. These three things. Somewhere here, margin padding should be set. This is or here we have padding. Yeah, padding we have here, but this is not padding though. This is padding. So this is this padding which makes everything. No. This is this padding. What about this padding? Somehow this padding only works one way. I see. Label. Now we need to also move label. If we are moving this, we also have to move label. And the margin should be smaller. I wonder, maybe they have some other options here. I'm not good at designing stuff, so where is this key label? This key label, how is it? Okay, that's how they are using translate to seriously alter it, right? To seriously alter its position. Yeah, so something like this I wanted, but what happens here? I will have to change many things. Maybe I can put this label here. How does it look? So I need to redefine CSS for all this stuff to make this working. So let me create a separate style sheet. And, let's create const use style. I have to finish it. Quickly make styles. The interesting part is that it's not possible to style this directly because I only see this text field, right? Which means I can't really do anything with this. I can't really manually. I shouldn't manually assign CSS like this. Since we're using a ready-made framework, maybe there is something like size. I'm not sure if height, maybe. No. There should be some properties for this. I wonder, is there reference somewhere? This is the problem with using UI frameworks, actually. When you want to change something, you sometimes might end up in such a situation where you just can do this or can do this easily. Of course, I could have just imported CSS and done this, but I think this is not the correct way somehow. if there is a reference somewhere. I don't see a reference really. Am I missing something? I don't think that references can be easily found. Let me just Google it like this: material UI reference. I don't see a reference here. They have usage, they have everything, but they don't have reference though. Okay, let's look at the text fields again. What are they providing us? Okay, dense multiline, this is called. Let's check how this dense multiline, you see this dense multiline actually takes less lines. It's, let me look at this dense multiline above. So it adds some classes. So that's how you would do this. Classes text fields, classes dense, right? Classes text field. They sent classes dense, basically it says margin top spacing 2. So it reduces margins on the right, on the left, and then sets margin on the top also. But somehow I don't see how this makes it smaller. It says multi-line and rows max 4. So it's like this, right? Oh, that's interesting. Is this because I named it multi-line? So I don't really need it to be a multi-line. Margin dense, variant outlined. Let me try it with margin dense. Okay, it's a little better, I think, right? But still not enough space for us. Let me try to, you know what? It is margin top, margin bottom, right? Margin top we can maybe reduce. But how am I going to reduce this? Because I can't even do that, right? And margin bottom. This really isn't how it should look. There is no other way to do this with Material UI. With Material UI, it's either taking more space or it's like this. So I need to settle on some solution already. What if I just set margin to none for now? Which other variants I wonder are there? Outlined, and what else? What if I do standard? How will it look? Maybe it will take less space. No, I think it's taking even more space. If I do field, yeah, there is no difference. I don't know. I'll try to set some CSS here. Now I need to get this classes object, use style, and apply this class here, for example. I don't know if it's going to do anything with this or not. It's doing something at least. At least it's not ignoring it. What I would have done, I would make margin much smaller, maybe 2 pixels. Margin top, margin bottom, both 2 pixels. Just temporarily. I need to think about a solution, how to place this all into a single element. I might do this off screen, and then I'll just code this. It's not seeing it here because screen here is smaller. I will just change this to check if it exists for now, though that this test is not failing. Because if it fails, then it will not build the version. So let it complete for now. So I'm going to end the stream now. It's been already pretty long. It's been like 1 hour 15 minutes. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you like it. Tomorrow I think I will try to finish this styling, because this style is hell. I might need to do some customization of the material UI, and then I'm going to implement the logic. So see you tomorrow, same time, 7:30 UTC. I'm going to commit, and then all these latest changes will be available here under this app, which you can, here I put it in chat, which you can go and check once Travis CI builds it. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.